Okay, so first of all, I have a data set which is laid out like this, and I want to reformat it so it matches the layout of this data set here. At the moment, all of this data is in one column, so it's not very easy to read. So the first thing I'm going to do is split this into separate columns. But I need to make a note of the fact that all of these values are separated by a semicolon, because right at the very end, I'm going to have to join all of my values together using a semicolon. So I'll select all of this data and then go to the Data tab and Text to Columns. We're going to be using the Delimited option and then Next. And the delimiter is going to be a semicolon and Next and then Finish. And now I have all of the values split into separate columns. I'm now going to copy all of the column headings and paste them back into my spreadsheet. Then I'll take all of the headings related to the date and hold down Shift and drag them to the beginning. I know that the site code is WAO, so I'll type that in here and then double click to send it down. And I know that the sampling height is 10 meters, so I'll type the number 10 in here and double click to send that down as well. Then for the time stamp, I need to have a look at how this is formatted. So the time stamp needs to be like this. So I will copy this cell here and paste it back into here. And then I'm going to use the text function to take my date and reformat it so it matches this value here. The formatting needs to be in quotation marks. Then we need the year at the beginning. So this is Y. Then we need a dash, and then we have the month, so that's 2 M's. Then we have the day, so that's 2 D's. Then we need a capital T in here. Then we're going to put in the time, and that's going to be hour, minute, second. Then we need a Z at the end, and enter. And now we've got this formatted the way that I want it. I can delete this value here and double click to send this down. For these values, they're nice and easy to pull out of the date. I can just do equals year and then select the date, and that will get me the year. And I can also do this for the month. Then I can get the day. Then I can get the hour. And then I can get the minute. And I'll select all of these and double click to send the formulas down. Then for the decimal day, I have a separate video explaining how to do this. So for this video here, I'm just going to type date to dec and enter. Then I need to change the cell reference so that it is on the date here and enter, and then double click to send this down. And now I have the decimal dates here. Now that I've got all of the date columns sorted out, I'm going to select all of these and right click and copy, and then right click and paste as values. And now these are no longer formulas, they're no longer linked to the original date column here, so I can delete this column. Then I will scroll over to the side and we'll sort out the rest of the columns. So I have the oxygen concentration here, followed by the oxygen standard deviation. Then I have the carbon dioxide, followed by the carbon dioxide standard deviation. So I have the columns in the correct order. And the first thing I need to do here is round these numbers so they're the correct number of decimal places. If I go back to the other spreadsheet, you can see that oxygen needs to have 1 decimal place, and then CO2 needs to have 2 decimal places. And we'll go back to here, and we're going to do this using the round function. We can't use the number formatting because the number formatting is going to disappear later on. So we'll select this cell here and round it to 1 decimal place. Then double click to send that down. Now this creates an error whenever we have a missing data point. If I go back to the other spreadsheet, you can see that missing data points just have blank cells in this spreadsheet, but in my spreadsheet, I've represented missing values with an NA. So I'm going to need to fix this, and I'm going to do this by using IFERROR. And whenever the round part of the formula produces an error, I'm going to replace it with a blank cell. And that's 2 quotation marks with nothing in between. And then I can double click to send this down, and now I have a blank cell. I'll drag this across to get the oxygen standard deviation. Then for the CO2, this needs to have 2 decimal places. So I'll change this here to 2 and drag it across, and then double click to send it down. And we'll just check that the CO2 also has the blank cells working correctly. Now that I've got that sorted out, I can copy all of these columns and then paste them as values. And now they are no longer linked to these columns here. I can delete these columns. Then I'll take the 2 flag columns and hold down Shift and drag them to the end. So with the flag columns, I have 0 for whenever the data is missing, and then 1 for all of the good data. However, in the other spreadsheet, this is slightly different. The flag columns have letters in them. So when there is the letter O, that means the data is correct. And then K is for when there is no data. So I'm going to need to fix my columns. I'll select both of these columns here and then go to Find and Replace. And in the Find What box, I'm going to take all of these zeros and replace them with Ks, and then replace all. And OK. Then I need to take all of the number 1s and replace them with the letter O, and replace all. And OK, and close. I'll also just copy the headings here because it looks like I need a capital F for flag, then delete these 2 headings. Now that I've got all of the columns sorted out, the final step is to combine them all together. And I'm going to use that using the text join function. The delimiter is going to be a semicolon, and then for empty cells, I'm going to say false, include empty cells. And then I am going to take all of these values and combine them together. So close brackets and enter. Then I can double click to send this formula down and also drag it up so that I get the headings. Then we'll select this column and right click and copy, and then right click and paste as values. And now everything is values. I can delete all of these columns here. And now I have my dataset formatted the way that I want it. And that is everything.